suddenly on YouTube and on Instagram, on all the social media platforms, we see so much of information with the India head of Airbnb coming up and talking about Airbnb business. People, social media influencers talking about Airbnb and a business and how rental property is making them rich.
I just signed a deal with around now like 6 months ago with this lady. She must be 76, 78 years old.
Okay.
And she just couldn't stop crying about the condition in which the previous tenant left the house.
Okay.
And she actually showed me pictures. The fan had turned red. That's the amount the guy used to probably smoke and do other things, whatever. So literally she's just like, I must have not made the kind of rent in that entire year that he stayed that I have to spend now fixing up the property.
Okay.
So she's like, what's the point? I could have just kept the house shut instead of all of this. So one of the reasons that she was so interested in talking to me was because she's like, I want to know how you're going to do things differently in my house. And I told her, I said, you might realize 2 months or 3 months later that your walls are cracking. The day I see this much seepage also come, I will get it repaired that very minute, because I can't have a guest coming over and seeing seepage in the house.
Because it's your business.
It's my business, yes.
So
the house
you
needs
need
to be
take care of the
for my
property
house.
even more than the landlord, because you've got to rent it.
Yeah, the house needs to be perfect for the guest that comes more than the landlord. I need it to be that good for the guest that comes over.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. Typically, it's a hassle-free operation.
Yes.
For the owner.
Yeah.
For you, obviously, the entire hassle.
But
is
that's
on
my
you.
company, so
Yeah,
it's okay.
for your company.
Yeah. Once the supply is too much, it's not like the demand dies out completely. There will be a chunk of, Airbnbs, hotels, which will have a very, very high occupancy. So the idea would be to always maintain being at the top of.
हाय एवरीबॉडी, जब भी हम प्रॉपर्टी खरीदने निकलते हैं या हम प्रॉपर्टी ओन करते हैं, कहीं ना कहीं हमें ये लगता है कि आर वी मेकिंग इनफ मनी आउट ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी, इज इट गिविंग मी अ गुड रिटर्न. वेल, आपने एक मेरा पॉडकास्ट देखा होगा जिसमें मैंने देखा था कि आप प्री स्कूल चला सकते हैं अगर आपकी प्रॉपर्टी ग्राउंड फ्लोर या ग्राउंड फ्लोर विद बेसमेंट है, या आपके पास कोई वेकेंट बंगलो है जो आप एज इट इज रेंट करते हैं. वेल, इन केस यू डू नॉट वांट टू डू अ बिजनेस per se of a preschool, considering the neighborhood, considering the issues with neighbors, considering with the issues with RWAs, and the sheer issue of getting yourself too much involved in it, there is another business line which helps people get far more return on their property, which is of short stays and daily rentals. I have a daily rental expert, Drishti Mahajan from Drishti's Dreamscape, who not only operates but also uses her own properties, rental properties, revenue share properties on short stays and daily rentals. Hi Drishti.
Hi.
Welcome to my show.
Thank you for having me.
So Drishti, I would like to know more about your business and how you are able to create value for property owners, as well as how does this business actually work, short stays? Because I used to understand short stays matlab hotel.
Right. So I'm sure you all have heard of Airbnbs.
Yes.
So I primarily operate from Airbnb, and of course now I'm building a net of referrals coming. So a lot of my clients come through my Instagram page as well now. So the journey started from my father-in-law having one apartment in Noida, and when I heard the rental, I was a little shocked. It was probably not even 1%. And I just had an idea. I had a couple of friends who were running Airbnbs, not in India, but in Miami and in Turkey. And I was just chatting with them and understand the model. And I spoke to a lot of people. I even followed some influencers on Instagram and realized, okay, fine, I'm just going to give it a try. And so I did the interiors of the house. I have a knack for interior. Otherwise, also a designer by profession. So I put the house together. I bought furniture, and I got a photo shoot done of the house and made the house as good as any Airbnb I'd ever stayed in. So whenever I travel, I always stay in Airbnbs.
Understand.
So I've stayed in about 12-15 Airbnbs until now. So I picked up little elements and details from all my stays, and I made this one apartment in Noida owned by my family. And I just listed it on Airbnb. And I mean, in the first 3 months, my occupancy rate was about 90%. I got, yeah. And, the biggest worry was for my father-in-law, for my husband, that, what kind of people would come? What if we are, answerable to something that's maybe they're making noise and the neighbors complained or something like that. So I had a chat with Airbnb. I called them up. I said, how is it going to go? And they said they do a full background check until and unless their IDs are verified on the app. They are not able to go ahead and make a booking. So if you download the app and you try to make a booking, you can't. Versus other platforms, there is no identity required, nothing. You cannot even have an account and you can go ahead and make a booking. So that's why I just kind of trust Airbnb in the processes a lot more. Or then I have my own process where, then when a customer reaches out to me, I ask them to send in all their IDs. And anyone sending their Aadhaars and passports, you get that verification of the customer, of the client that's coming to stay at your property. Plus, my properties are priced at such a amount that would believe it's not very easy for riffraff to come. So not to put anyone down or anything, but from what I've heard, Oyo didn't attract very good clientele. Also, I think there was an hourly system and there was this under 1,000 rupee rates and stuff like that. So I was a little too afraid in the beginning that that shouldn't happen. Any guest coming to stay in my house should be a nice guest, take care of my house, take care of my property, respect everything. So initially, of course, it was really scary when I went ahead and made it live, but there were such wonderful people that were coming. And you kind of have to send a message before booking. Like the person has to message me saying why they want to book my house, what reason are they coming for. So I don't know, I've actually spoken to extremely honest people. I mean, I've been doing this for about 1.5 years now. People actually message, hey, I'm traveling for work, or hey, I have some work at the expo center, I have to go to Pragati Maidan, I have to visit the hospital, somebody's flying down from somewhere, they're just taking a night in Delhi as a break because they're traveling to the hills. So they'll always text me and tell me what they're staying for, what is their requirement. So then I'll chat with them as well. I ask them the reason for their stay. So I also feel like Airbnb, the app in general, is only with a limited strata. Not everybody even knows about it. So the people that do know about it are of a certain strata of the society. Because I would believe whoever knows about Airbnb would be someone who's used it internationally. When you travel to Bali or you travel to London, etc., the hotel stays are so expensive that people choose to pick Airbnb for the simple reason that you get a bigger space firstly, and then it's slightly more affordable.
So Drishti, like I see, recently, just less than a week back, my wife had some relatives over the US and we were trying to get hotels for them. Nothing was available.
Yeah, you told me.
And a kamra in a hotel less than 150 square feet in one of the good hotels of Delhi was costing 1 lakh a night. So that is when I thought of putting them in an Airbnb, putting them in a property which was managed by somebody else. But what do you see with post-COVID? The prices of hotels have gone up so high, and it is practically becoming unaffordable for a great amount of people because corporates have their own way of paying, and their own way of negotiating with these 5-star hotels. But do you think with the increase in the number of the pricing of the hotels, is the demand for Airbnbs or short stay rental properties increasing?
Definitely. Like there was a wedding in the family and there were a lot of relatives that were coming from abroad, and my friend called me and she's like, there is no property, and they wanted to get them the accommodation. So anywhere and everywhere, even a 4-star hotel, a per night tariff was not coming anywhere less than 15,000 to 18,000, which is a big amount for one room. So she reached out to me and she's like, do you have any of your Airbnb? And as it would happen, so it was a very busy week. This is like last month of Jan. All my Airbnbs were also booked out.
Oh, fantastic.
And she was like, oh my God, what do I do? And then I have a couple of friends now in the Airbnb community. So I tried to reach out to them. Is any of your property available? Then it, of course, worked out in such a way that she did manage. And they all ended up staying at Airbnbs only. But she couldn't find a single hotel where she could put them up at an affordable price. And, I would believe somebody who wants to spend so much time, so much money for a hotel would like to enjoy the property as well. Definitely. You come, you have that breakfast in the morning, and then you have a beautiful property, etc. Some people come for work. They just want clean sheets to be able to sleep and have a shower in the morning. They don't want to spend that kind of money.
Very well said.
There should be that option available. So I tapped into this market not for the reason of availability, supply, demand. I tapped into it because rental yield was so low for the property that my father owned.
Okay.
That's how I tapped in. But slowly I realized, oh my God, there is a lot of demand, and there are a lot of Airbnbs or affordable stays, etc. You would say in Gurgaon and in Noida, but in Delhi there really isn't. Within South Delhi or within, you could say, like West Delhi, etc., because there are either these 5-star hotels, 4-star hotels, or then there's nothing, I would believe, or maybe they're not of quality. And even there are some places, some restaurants, some hotels, some homestays which are available but are not worth the money.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't name, but there is one property where I found, and it was for 9,500 rupees a night, 9,500, which is not bad. But the quality and the standards, like I suggested it to my friend, and they went and stayed, and they were like, it was just not worth that much amount also. Because again, room was 150 square feet and all only, because it was like a boutique hotel.
Okay.
Versus when you book an Airbnb, like all of my Airbnbs are from 200 square yards to about 350 square yards.
Understood.
So it's like you're living in a home, and then there are 2 bedrooms or there are 3 bedrooms. So, a couple of friends can also stay together. If a family is traveling, you have your kids, they get their own room rather than getting extra beds in a hotel room and then paying extra for that as well.
Understand.
So there are a lot of benefits of getting like literally a homestay rather than a hotel.
Now that I understand the business from you, what do you feel is the basic difference between a service apartment and a short stay accommodation, or for example a B&B that you do?
So from what I understand, a service apartment has a bigger commitment in terms of timelines.
Okay.
It is a minimum of 1 to 3 or 4 months, I would believe, and it's in collaboration with companies.
Okay.
Banks will have a collaboration, or some embassies will have a tie-up with this particular service department, that whenever their customers are coming, whenever their clients, employees, colleagues, when any of them are coming, they put them up in this paid accommodation. Whereas what we do in Airbnb, there is no, as a property owner, I can pick the option that if somebody wants to book my property, they have to book it for 2 months or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or 2 nights or 3 nights. There's the option to do that in the app. I don't particularly do that. So there is no minimum. You can stay for 1 night as well. You can stay for 7 days as well. I have a lot of guests that message me saying, hey, we're looking to book your place for 15 days. Give us a better deal. So then I'll end up talking to them. I'll give them a better price, because per night may be ending up being a little more expensive for them.
Understand.
And for me, having one guest staying for 15 days is lower cost for me, because of the linens and the towels and the laundry and the cleaning. So I do like a guest coming and staying with us for like 10 days to 15 days to 20 days. I think the longest stay I've had is 16 days. So that would be the difference between service apartment, and I don't think then these service apartments are available on portals like Airbnb or maybe Make My Trip Homestay and stuff, because then if they want a minimum booking amount of nights, then that can't be done.
Okay.
So I think these are more like on contract basis with companies.
Okay. What is the basic way of you sourcing property in terms of, for example, if I am a property owner and I want to do business with you, but I'm looking for a ROI, return on investment, rather than a pure rental, because rental I could fetch from anybody, and obviously the lock-in periods and everything would be there. What is the way a property owner can do business with you for a higher rental, B, for security of his property, because he knows what is the quality of people coming in? So if you could just throw some light on this, would be great.
Right. So now this is the model actually I'm working on the most, like I've pitched to you as well for your property. So as of now, the properties I have running are all on a rent model, simply rent model. But if a owner is interested and would like to have some skin in the game and earn more than a rental, which like you said, they can get from anybody, I will provide the service of converting their house into a short-term rental property. So what I would do is I will meet the owner, I will do the interiors of the house with the help of the owner, of course, and put the house up as to the standard that I believe needs to be done for short-term rentals.
Okay.
And post that, once the house goes live, getting the photo shoot done, making sure that the house is of the exact same caliber and quality that an Airbnb house should be, or a short-term rental house should be. I make it live on Airbnb, and after that the entire management, the entire property of the guests, speaking to the guests, getting the bookings is all completely done by me and my company. So the benefit that the owner gets is, for example, hypothetically, there is a property that could go out on a basic rental yield of say 1 lakh or say 50,000. The lower the rent of that area, the better, the better margins you can make at the end of the day. So let's say you have a 2 BHK and the rental for the same is about 50,000. If we put it out on Airbnb, we can look at a rental yield of approximately 2.5 to 3 lakh, and that would be our revenue that we make, and I would take a percentage of that from the homeowner.
And obviously the costs the operational costs
and everything will come out from the revenue,
obviously,
and of course from the net profit I would be taking a percentage. It would be like about 25 to 30%, and rest of it all goes to the homeowner.
Okay, so that means higher the risk or higher the skin in the game, the higher the return.
Correct. Though I don't expect the homeowner to be involved in absolutely anything with the guests or check in, check out, this, that, nothing. That's all going to be done by me.
Okay.
The maintenance of the house is going to be done by me, etc. They just have to basically be involved in the finances, where the money is coming in and where they have to be able to spend some money when the basic electricity bill kharchas of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes it more easier for people who want to have a second business.
Yes.
Where their involvement is not there, but still it is giving them justifiable return.
Especially if they have a property lying around, which is not being able to give them the yield.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The entire gamut of real estate that is in my industry, people have been pitching commercial properties to investors that till such time there's construction going on, they give you a short return, then you get a 4, 5, 6, 7% return on a property. But ultimately, quite a few of these malls, these commercial buildings, are becoming ghost malls. There's a lot of talk about this online. There's a lot of videos coming up on YouTube and Instagram about these ghost mall culture being there in India, and there's no occupancy or minimal occupancy, and vacancy is high. But for example, South Delhi, as I understand as a real estate professional in South Delhi, if you are renting out a property on a historic rent lease agreement, you make about 2.5-3% to the max.
Yeah.
But there is possibility of one to make in excess of 6 to 10% depending on what is the property, size of the property,
yes.
location, colony, etc.
Yes.
But which obviously fetches you much better return
yes.
than just a 2% or just a 3%, and still you get a lot of safety, a safety net below your investment, that it is not going to end up into an ocean of space. So I advise a lot of retirees and a lot of clients who want secondary homes or secondary investments post retirement. They want some fund coming into them, but which has some safety net to it.
Yeah.
So I advise people to buy property in South Delhi, because wherever there is, even though at a lesser return, a visible return, but there is some amount of safety of rental, safety of occupancy, and safety of your asset being utilized at the right place.
Yes.
So what do you feel, Drishti, like we talked about embassies, do embassies also or top corporates also get into Airbnbs or short stays?
So I did get a bank, I don't remember which bank, for one of my Noida properties. That's actually right it's in sector 110. So all the corporate offices around that area. Mm-hmm. So a bank, or I think Adobe reached out to me that they would like to take my place, for whenever they have their employees traveling. So I did a conversation with them, but then they wanted a block for like 2 months or 3 months. So really I didn't end up going that route. But I'm sure they are also in search. But I feel like the bigger the company, they probably don't end up trying to find it every time, and already have a collaboration with the service department like we spoke earlier. So I guess they have their fixed ones, there. There are a lot of times that people message me on behalf of their bosses and their CEOs on Airbnb saying, hey, our CEO of our company is coming for 10 days and we need to book this property for them. Okay. And then they are like, because if the property doesn't turn out to be nice, they'll get scolded. So they beg me, send us videos, can we come see the property? We would like, and I don't particularly allow viewings, because if my house is booked every day, 11 is checkout, 2 is check-in, 2 hours there is for cleaning. So I really can't be managing someone coming and viewing the house. So I have these nice videos, and also I'll just send it to them. Then, this is what the house looks like.
All right.
If you want to book it, you can go ahead and book it.
No, but this is a fantastic business. Good that, in such a way we are able to manage the genre of people occupying the property.
Yes.
This actually helps us, or would help you ultimately in managing a lot of neighbor-related issues or the locality-related issues or RW-related issues that we hear so much about in the environment.
Yeah.
But also gives us a lot of security to the owner to understand that his property is being used by good hands.
Exactly. So I just signed a deal with around, not just now, but like 6 months ago, with this lady. She must be 76, 78 years old.
Okay.
And she just couldn't stop crying about the condition in which the previous tenant left the house.
Okay.
And she actually showed me pictures. The fan had turned red. That's the amount the guy used to probably smoke and do other things, whatever. So literally she's just like, I must have not made the kind of rent in that entire year that he stayed that I have to spend now fixing up the property.
Okay.
So she's like, what's the point? I could have just kept the house shut instead of all of this. So one of the reasons that she was so interested in talking to me was because she's like, I want to know how you're going to do things differently in my house. And I told her, I said, you might realize 2 months or 3 months later that your walls are cracking. The day I see this much seepage also come, I will get it repaired that very minute, because I can't have a guest coming over and seeing seepage in the house.
Yeah.
Because that leads to a mucky smell, that leads to dampness, and if it gets worse, it actually leads to a lot of illnesses and sickness. And 30 to 40% of the people that come stay in our homes at Drishti Dreamscape are foreigners.
Okay.
Now, foreigners have zero tolerance and patience for anything like this. They immediately be like, your house is damp and etc. And I have faced this once before. So I got it repaired and everything. And literally, one day, auntie must have come for inspection. She's like, there was seepage over here. What happened to that? I said, auntie, what's fixed? I'm not going to wait for you to come and tell me. And she was so happy. She's like, oh my God, lovely. Okay, you let me know how much it costed and I'll work it out with you. And I said, whatever, we figured it out. And like you said, people that are retired and people that are older. So 5 of the houses that I'm running are all senior citizen homes. All of them are to me on rent.
So the way I see it, look at it with your experience, typically it's a hassle-free operation.
Yes.
For the owner.
Yeah.
For you, obviously, the entire hassle.
But that's my company, so it's okay.
For your company.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of safety net for the owners regarding occupancy, because you've got an experience of operating 90% on properties in South Delhi.
Yeah.
Then you also are able to maintain the property.
Yes.
Now, the biggest concern that I see when one of my clients want to rent their property is, will the tenant vacate my property at the right time?
Correct.
I would not overstay or do kabza on a property, which used to happen. Now there's a lot of less amount of properties that are being kabza'd by the tenant
because of the legality.
Yeah. But for a shorter stay, it is more practical for the owners, so that the property is being vacated, let's say every couple of days.
Yeah. And neither am I staying there, who's taken the place on rent, that I would do anything. And I'm sure someone who's coming for 1-2 days now coming with a planning. I'm going to do kabza at this house. So obviously, they're very fast moving people that are coming, they're working, etc. So they come, and more often than not, I've seen people really respect my checkout time also. If it's 11, by 10:45, they are mostly out, and then they message me. Actually, the app itself starts, sending notification. It's your checkout time. I hope you've left. So that way, the app is also extremely good for the hosts and for the guests. They ensure that the hosts are also comfortable with the guests, and they ensure that the guest is also comfortable. So I'm also a super host on Airbnb, so I have a couple of more privileges than a normal host would have.
Okay.
I have 24/7 assistants, etc. So if there's any issue I ever face with the guest, immediately a call will go to the guest that this is something you're coming under emergency and blah blah blah. So I mean, it's been a while. I think I've hosted about 1,500 nights in total in all my properties, and I've actually made a couple of friends from the guests that stayed at my house.
Okay.
So it's been a lovely experience.
Well, they say you can't choose your relatives, but you can choose your friends. And I'm sure the amount of friends that you made out of the occupants who've been occupying your Airbnb or short stay properties, I'm sure you must be giving them the best kind of quality of service.
In fact, more than from that, I've made great friends in the properties I've taken up. All the landlords have, I mean, they're all older, but like they're very fond of me, and they've recommended me to their fellow friends that there's this girl वो हमारे घर में ऐसे कर रही है, आप भी अपना घर दिखा दो उनको. So through them, I have got so many referrals, plus through Rotary, how I met you.
Oh yes.
So I'm making a lot of friends through that as well. So it's collaborating. It's their home. For them, their home is probably more important than anything else in the world. And every owner has a piece of their heart in their homes.
Definitely.
So to hand it over to someone, there has to be that trust and that faith, and I that's what I bring to the table. That don't worry, I will take care of your house. So all my landlords would, sometimes are like, एक बार घर देखने आ जाए, they'll come and see and be like, इतना अच्छा तो हम भी नहीं रखते थे. Like there's this auntie I was telling about, like she's just so happy with me all the time. She's like, okay, I'm so glad you're keeping the house really well.
Because it's your business.
It's my business, yes.
So
the house
you
needs
need
to
to
be
take care of the property even more than the landlord, because you've got to rent it.
Yeah, the house needs to be perfect for the guest that comes more than the landlord. I need it to be that good for the guest that comes over.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So as per your experience, what do you think is this is like a growing business, and suddenly on YouTube and on Instagram, on all the social media platforms, we see so much of information with the India head of Airbnb coming up and talking about Airbnb business, social media influencers talking about Airbnb and a business and how rental property is making them rich. What do you feel should be an ideal size of a property for one to consider to buy to put it on short-term rentals? Obviously, 800 square yard or 1,000 square yard floor may not make sense.
Yeah. So an ideal, to answer your question, to an ideal size that has been working pretty well for me is a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom.
All right.
Sometimes when I do have a 3-bedroom property, I will convert the 3rd bedroom into a recreational room because it's completely a personal thing. I don't want 6 guests in my house. It just becomes a bit too much in a little bit of a space. 6 people, 6 voices, automatically tends to be a little louder. So 4 guests is perfect. If somebody really says, okay, there is 5 people, I'll arrange for an extra mattress or something. So the 3rd room, I'll just kind of make into a cute like TV room with a nice couch or something to like relax. So a 2 BHK to a 3 BHK is perfect. But like you said, buying a 500 square or 800 won't make sense. So if someone plans it through and they know that they want to do only short-term rental over here, you can get that 800. I actually know someone who's doing this literally within my building where I'm staying right now. So she has a 500 square yard house. She's kept 200 to herself, and out of the 300, she's a single lady that's living over there. Her kids don't live over here, and she's converted the rest of the house into 100 square yards ka room.
Okay.
And from her floor, she rents out those 3 rooms, and she's doing really, really well because the rooms are very.
So I asked you this question because with aging population in India and a lot of people's kids staying abroad, they feel that their parents need to be taken care of.
Correct.
And their assets should not be destroyed.
Correct.
So having said that, a lot of people, today there's a scare like, overstay that I mentioned to you. Criminal activities happening in their houses is the second concern. Or for that matter, so there are a lot of issues that probably get resolved by the sole listing of daily rentals. For example, I bought an asset which was fully furnished. We were selling it furnished. And I'm an investor in real estate as well, along with being a consultant. So I bought an asset which was fully furnished, and we were selling it fully furnished. But there was a time the buyer was wanting about 3.5-4 months to buy or make the complete payment to us. Mm-hmm. So we rented those apartments. We rented that apartment to people on a monthly basis, and the rental was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So that is when I sort of approached you to consider my assets as well
to be done on Airbnb.
To be done on Airbnb or short stays.
Short term. Huh?
Yeah, and with Airbnb, I definitely see there's a lot of pluses for the owners and the occupants.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to dig deep on the occupation costs of a particular Airbnb, because this video is not only for property owners. This is for people who really want to start a new business, to have some passive income. See, the people are doing the jobs, have a lot of money with which can be raised through bank loans, home loans, and other assets that they disposed, but they do not know where to park it. So I want to know from you what is the approximate operational costs, and secondly, what are the best localities as per your choice within that 2-3 bedroom category that one should consider buying in South Delhi?
Okay, so in terms of costs, primarily there's rent if it's not your own property. So that's the first cost that comes. Second would be your laundry. Okay. All your linens, because every time a guest checks out, absolutely every linen in the house is gone for washing. Sheets, your bed sheets, your bed covers, everything, towels, face towels, anything and everything that the previous guest used going for washing.
All right.
So laundry is one of the main expenses. Third expense would be electricity. So in the summers, you get very hefty bills because of air conditioning. In the winters, it's 1/4 of the bills that we get in June, July. Okay. So kind of when the entire year it gets equated out, you can just take an average out of your electricity bill. Fourth and most important is your staff, your cleaning staff, right, who's doing the caretaking of the property, cleaning the house. And the fifth and most important would be maintenance. So some months there will be no maintenance in the house. Some months every pipe will be futtering in the house. The TV broke. Something came out. There's leakages. There's electricity wires. Like this one funny thing happened. So in July, I think the time in Delhi when it rains like cats and dogs. Yeah. So it was raining, and somebody was shooting in my house. Okay. They were doing a podcast shoot. So we give out our Airbnbs for shoots, personal content and all also. Like very interesting people have shot in my house. Dolly has shot in my house, and Kusha Kapila has shot in our house. So they were shooting, and I think it was raining, and I guess the voltage went up because they had heavy lights or whatever, and everything just burst in the house. And this is at like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and it's raining like how. And these guests are calling me, and they're like, the lights have gone, nothing is working in the house. And I'm like, what did you do? Like, that's a proper like livable house. My relatives live upstairs, so I'm like, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि वहाँ पे आपको voltage कम मिल रही है or something like that. Then they suddenly told me what kind of lighting they were using for the shoots, like very very heavy. Plus all the ACs of the house were on, everything, and the whole thing just. And it was like at night. I think the whole issue got resolved at 5 a.m. in the morning. Like so much went down in that house. So in terms of maintenance, at the end of the day, it's a house. A tap can be leaking, electricity some tar can get cut. मतलब सब घर में रहते हैं.
Short circuit, minor short circuit.
एक basic चीज तो हो ही सकता है. So some months कुछ नहीं होता है, some months बहुत कुछ हो जाता है. तो but maintenance is like a variable cost. Okay. But the other 4 that I told you, those are fixed costs.
Understand.
But that would be about it. Just these 5 things.
But like you said, the cost of linens, etc., the more occupant turnover you have, the more cost becomes free.
Yes. So the longer it stays, if a guest is staying with us for 7 to 10 days, our cost of laundry ends up becoming lower because we don't have to change the sheets and all every day. But if there's, if I had like 25 or 26 days because they were all like one night stays, then of course the laundry is a lot higher. But I have a subscription model with my laundromats. So no matter how many pieces go, I give a fixed price.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Drishti, now that we understand the business, the nitty-gritties, the costs, I would like to know what are the key areas of where you feel one would get better occupancy, better rates, better genre of people, irrespective of the price of the property, but which localities of South Delhi you feel maybe the best ones?
From the little bit that what I can collect from the past 1.5 years of hosting, guests usually, the ones that are just coming for leisure, I don't think they really care. They're okay they just see how nice the property is from within. But there are a lot of medical tourism. So I see a lot of people asking me if, my house is easily accessible to Apollo or Mac. I also have a lot of people traveling for exhibitions. So Pragati Maidan and areas around Pragati Maidan are quite a hotspot. Then in Noida, the expo centers, people, are always asking how far are you from the expo center. So from what I'm understanding, the kind of guests that we are getting are either medical tourism, or they're coming for exhibitions, or they're coming for wedding shopping. They want to be around Mehrauli, Mehrauli area to do shopping, Dhanmil, etc., etc. So 2 of my properties are in Saket. Okay. So most of the people that are coming over there either for Max Hospital or they're coming for wedding shopping, or they ask me that, Chandni Chowk जाना है. So I was like, my property is over here. आप metro लेके Chandni Chowk जा सकते हो. Because my house, which is in Saket, is walkable distance from the metro station. Now nobody wants to actually stay in Chandni Chowk, but they want to just make sure that there's a metro that can take them there. So if we just see the hotspots of Delhi, I think the ones named would be the areas. But I also don't suggest that if this is your ulterior goal to do short-term rentals and you're looking at investing in a property, buy something that's affordable. Buy something where the rental yield is not too high. Even though it should be, because maybe the locality is really good and the property is made really well, but some areas just unfortunately don't have a good rental yield. Versus if you go to premium areas like Ananiketan or Shantiniketan, etc., over there the rental yield in general, for a 200-250 square yard, I would believe the rentals are between 2 to 2.5 lakhs. To put that on Airbnb, I mean, at the end of the day, you can charge from 10 to 15 to 18,000 rupees per night. So after doing all that, you're going to make a similar amount that you would by just putting it on a long-term rental. So that area, I feel for this particular project, if somebody wants to do it for this, that area wouldn't make sense.
Understand.
Because that can just go on a normal rental. But there are some untapped locations where I feel the location is also good, the quality of construction is also good, but the rental yields are just not that great.
Understand.
In fact, I feel Saket rental yields are not that great. I've seen a couple of properties and I'm like, oh really? That's it. So not bad. So that would work really well for Airbnb. You can really make that gap by doing a per night rent of 10,000 to 12,000 rupees a night.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So now that we've discussed the business, I would like to know what are one of your cherished moments of doing such a business, because this is a passion project in itself.
Yes. So this project did come from the love of doing up spaces, because I designed my own room and all after I did get married. So my most cherished moments are my guests. When they check out, they send me these long messages of how they love the attention to detail, even though sometimes I feel like itna mehnat nahi kiya tha, I could have done a little more in the house. मैंने जल्दी set कर दिया कि I have to make it live. But everyone really appreciates my interiors. Though I wouldn't say they're very fancy, very flamboyant, but yes, I have put attention to detail, little corners. I've added a note that, this is the water tap, this is the geyser. A lot of people don't know, then they'll keep asking you. So then, I put these little notes, I put a story of how I got into Airbnb. So there's like a big frame in all my properties which have a photo of me and Gagan, and I've written hi, thank you for coming and staying in my home. And they love the interiors, the attention to detail, that I've kept a plant in the corner, I've kept a candle in the corner. So they literally, my guests have sent me long messages saying it felt like we were staying in a home. You opened the doors and we were staying in a home. It didn't feel like a hotel, it didn't feel like a guest house, it didn't feel like a serviced apartment. It felt like someone opened their doors to their home.
True.
And that makes me the happiest, when a guest stays and really appreciates my property, leaves the house that clean, they leave the house the way they got it. There are so many guests in the morning, they'll be like, we've cleaned the utensils, we've cleaned this and cleaned that, is there anything else you need me to do? I said, no, please don't do anything, my staff will come and do it, just put things back in place. You throw around towels and all, so we've given a laundry basket, so you put your wet towels over there, and everything is kind of organized and categorized. So my most cherished moment are my guests who give me all the compliments in the world. Reviews also.
Kudos to you. Drishti, I would like to know, what are your upcoming passion projects in Airbnb business?
So I'm working on 2 more projects right now.
Okay.
I will reveal the location once they're ready. And honestly, I am extremely actively looking for homeowners.
Okay.
So my friends and family keep helping me get in connect with somebody who has a property lying around. There are a lot of people I've been meeting who just don't want to put it on rent only. Then हमें देना ही नहीं है rent पे, चाहे पड़े रहे. But I know they'd be interested in this short-term rental model. So I'm currently actively looking for people that are wanting to put their house out for a short-term rental. That's why when I had also also spoken for the same thing.
Definitely.
So that is my biggest thing, to find homeowners. Maybe from this medium, I'm able to reach out to a lot more people.
Definitely.
I have gotten a lot of help through the Rotary group also, and I've been connected with a lot of people. Every week, my aim is to speak to 5 to 10 people who have a home, and that converts to something. I'm in conversation with somebody who has 2 houses in Goa as well.
Okay.
So I will be traveling to Goa and converting their homes also onto Airbnb.
What is your take on Goa market? I've been listening to a lot of things about Goa being saturated, occupancy levels and stuff. But what I personally feel from being a real estate professional is, I know there may be saturation in particular localities, but if you see the complete Goa as a market, new beaches coming up, people going from earlier it used to be only Candle and Kalingut.
Yeah.
Now people are going towards
north.
Mandaram and going to further north as well.
Yeah.
So what as per your evaluation, because you just mentioned that you're expanding to Goa as well.
Yes.
What is the kind of market that you see? What is the sentiment there? And what are the pluses of investing for people to invest in Goa as compared to Delhi?
Right. I don't know too much about what's going on in Goa, but in the past 1 year, I have traveled there a lot. Yes, there is a decline in tourism slightly, but I would say maybe that's foreigner. And I don't want to sound rude or mean, but I've actually spoken to local hotel owners, restaurant owners who actually say that only Indians spend money. Foreigners don't really end up spending money. They go by the beaches and they chill. The influx of that is slightly less. Additionally, I feel like if your pay is good, it's nice, it's well maintained, and you have the reviews, you anyway hit the top of the algorithm and you will get the occupancy. Once the supply is too much, it's not like the demand dies out completely. There will be a chunk of Airbnbs, hotels, which will have a very, very high occupancy. So the idea would be to always maintain being at the top of the list.
Understand. I'll ask you a very uncomforting question about competitors. Everybody has this thing about having competition and tapping onto their stuff, what they're doing. So what is your way of beating the competition, or what do you feel about your competitors and how they're doing business?
To be very honest with you, I've really never gone onto the app and seen the people are doing in Delhi. I honestly have in Goa.
Okay.
And I have in other places to see the top properties. Like there are these beautiful properties in Jibbi, tree houses and stuff. In Delhi, I never really bothered doing it because I had 2 houses and I wanted to put them on Airbnb by hook or crook. It didn't matter to me. A lot of people did say, Delhi mein kyun work karega? So I did it. I did it to my best caliber, and my occupancy rate is great. Though I have seen a lot of properties come up, a lot of people are taking very lightly कि चलो घर पड़ा है, फोन से 4-5 फोटो लेके अपलोड कर दो एंड बुकिंग आनी स्टार्ट हो जाएगी. ऐसे नहीं होता है. हर चीज में एक एफर्ट डालना होता है, हर चीज में एक एस्थेटिक होता है. People are not fools that anything and they will just buy it. Someone's coming to stay the night. Someone needs to get a good night's sleep. Someone needs to wake up in the morning, take a nice shower. People can see if the property is well maintained or not when you just give photos. A lot of people have been seeing these reels कि आपके घर में खाली कमरा पड़ा है तो उसको डाल दो. I'm sure it works for a few people, but the first thing anybody asks me, because Airbnb initially in America now started with the concept of shared spaces.
Shared spaces.
First thing they ask me is, I hope this space is not shared. First thing they ask me.
Totally.
Because maybe India is different and abroad it's different. I don't know, but all my properties are private. Like there is no shared spaces.
Understand.
So as long as you put in that effort, I know how much effort I put into the interiors of my houses, the way I get my photos done, the attention to details I give everywhere. I know I'm hitting in the top 10% of the homes around Delhi. So yes, there is a lot of competition when I see बहुत सारी listings आती हैं. But for example, specifically for Airbnb, they also give you these badges. Okay. The badges help you go up in the algorithm.
Okay.
You need to be a super host, you get the badge. If you're a guest favorite, you get a badge. There is another badge of top 5% of homes. It's a golden trophy.
Okay.
So then you get a badge. So when you get all these badges, your properties are always at the top. So
you're bumped
on top.
Yeah.
So the minute somebody opens the app, they see, and if you're available, they'll be like, okay, great. And the best way to get the best out of this is to ensure that you don't charge an unreal amount now just because you've gotten the badge. You stay competitive, see the price that properties around the area are going in, and you maintain that. So you have the badge also, you're affordable also. So that's a booking for you.
Fantastic. Well, it was fantastic speaking to a passionpreneur like you. Do not say entrepreneur, but because you've got so much passion and so much energy that you're putting in your business. Kudos to you.
Thank you.
And I hope a lot of my viewers contact me to get in touch with you.
Yes.
And a lot of owners would definitely get value from whatever we discussed today. And we'll see a lot of more properties coming your way and a lot of investors coming my way to buy properties for you.
Yes, definitely. I hope this collaboration goes well, and I hope I was able to, give out some information in the short-term rental business. And if there's anything I missed out, you can message me.
Oh, definitely. Why not? So please leave your comments below, and we'll take it up from there. Thank you.
Bye.